B-Bad and Brandon.
Recording in progress. Shane. Shane's connecting audio and can't hear you yet. Oh, hey, buddy.
Right, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're there now. Just some
sweet
technical issues going on there, but a couple of guys who know nothing about anything to do with computers. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know why that wasn't working. I want a Samsung as well, so it wasn't an iPhone thing, so God knows.
Oh yeah, unfortunately that software doesn't like Android, only like iPhone apparently. So
yeah.
Oh right, okay, yeah, that explains it. Yeah, it's saying my phone's not supported, so I was like, right, well, I fucked this up clearly. So.
That's right. We got Plan B, bro. That always works. How's your day?
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing the other day. I was literally sat here trying to join the podcast, and I was thinking, fuck is I accepting? And I was like, booked this hour out, and then I was like, oh my god, I haven't even booked this hour out. I was supposed to be doing something else entirely. I was just sat here. I don't know what I was doing.
No, you messed up the time, but you also meant to be doing something else at the same time too. Fuck.
Yeah, I literally just checked the wrong day. So I was like, right, this is what I'm doing today. And then I was like, oh, fuck, it's not even Friday. I was like, what's going on?
Oh, mate, it's just a bit like Christmas. You're too excited for it. You're just pumped to see us. I get it.
Oh, man, no, we've had it before.
So, mate, what we'll do...
I think I need to free my time up. I need to have less stuff to do. I feel like I've got about 10 days worth of stuff to do in 7 days at the moment. So it's mental. More
pies than fingers, my friend. Mate, what we like to do at the start of this thing, we have one thing that's official and the rest of it is chaos and craziness. It is the one and only question that is 21 sounds and or words if you'd like to use them, who you are and what do you do. And Brandon will count them.
In how long? 21 words?
That's all you got.
Right, okay. Well, I can't count when I speak, but I'm going to change your mind. I'm a strength and conditioning coach that specializes in strongman. Let's just cut it to that.
I think that was roughly 21. We'll call it with that.
I got it at 20.
20?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Fucking nailed it.
Mate, how long have you been in the strongman game for?
Nearly longer than I haven't. So
wow. I
started when I was 18. So that is coming up to 14 years now.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Wait, so that makes you 32.
Yeah, I'm nearly 32. I'm 32 in 2 months. So yeah, it's coming up to 14 years I've been doing it for.
Yeah, right.
It's a long time.
Yeah. How'd you get your start in strongman, bro? Was it as a kid growing up, was something you're curious about and interested in? Was there a lot of exposure to it or you just kind of fell upon it?
No, didn't have a clue about it, to be honest. I mean, I watched it at Christmas, like kind of everybody does, but basically I just was training in the gym and a guy called Ben France, who's actually, he's come second at Masters Worlds now. He's, been in the strongman scene. Well, he literally been in it about a year before me, to be fair. He got into it. I started working at the gym that he was the manager of when I was 17.
Yep.
And yeah, when I was 18, he was just like, do you want to come to this place where I train strongman? Do you want to try some stuff? And it was a guy called Mark Haydock. You probably won't have heard of him, but he's a bit of a UK legend for his grip strength and for his kind of odd lifts. They have a kind of federation over here called the IW Summit. I can't remember. I don't know what it stands for. It ain't my scene, but you do the odd lifts, like, the Steinberg lift and stuff like that they do.
Really?
I think Lysis kind of made it go viral. And they do stuff that bounce barbells up the back, and they do all random lifts, but he's kind of well known for that. So yeah, we went to Mark Haydock's farm, and I was kind of good at it. And then, I don't know, I guess it was a bit egotistical, but because I was good at it, I was like, can we go back? And then I obviously just kind of went from there. And then, yeah, we started buying our own kit after that.
Yep.
So that we didn't have to travel. And that was kind of where it started, to be honest.
Yep.
That's awesome, dude. Like, I love that. Like, we've had a lot of guests on the podcast from the UK. And strongman is massive in the UK. Why is that? Why is there such a strong strongman culture over there?
It didn't used to be. It's really blown up. Like when we started, we were kind of the in the northwest of England anyway. We were the guys that actually started off the strongman boom, because we, from going to Mark's farm, we basically started buying the kit ourselves, because it was about a 2.5 hour drive to get to him, and he was the closest place for strongman. So it was a bit of a trek just to go train, to go train on a farm in the rain, in the mud, and just lift some random rusty things. It was a bit of a trek. So we started buying kit, and because Ben was the manager of Salt Air Sports Centre, this is like a council-run sports centre. They had this big room that they taught like karate in and kickboxing and some other stuff, like a big open room. They put mats down and stuff. And we used to, that room was kind of empty a lot of the time. So we used to store our kit at the bottom. And when it was empty, we would just start training. And we kind of built, over a year or two, we built up so much kit that we started calling it SAS, Salt Air Strongman. And we're kind of in a little location called Morecambe. We're about an hour from Manchester, but we started getting people travel, because obviously before they'd have to travel 2-3 hours to get somewhere. Now they were traveling an hour to us.
Yep.
And we had in Salt Air Sports Centre, where we had SAS Strongman, we actually had Graham Hicks training with us, because Graham was like 2 minutes down the road from me. He's one of my best mates. So we started Strongman together. So we had me, who was doing all the under 80s, under 90s stuff. We had Hicksy, who at the time was winning the 105s. We had Paul Smith, who now competes at Giants Live. He used to come down and train. Ben France, he's gone on to win Masters World. Luke Davies used to train there, who now owns Chaos Strength Gym. He has the world record deadlift under 105. So we had this huge gathering at Salt Air that we all kind of stayed there for 3 or 4 or 5 years until they kicked us out. And then when we all went off, we all opened gyms, which kind of like set off the kind of boom in this area. And then from there, it just kind of became, people just started buying kit. Companies came out making kit, because before it was so hard to get anything. Now you've got all these fabrication companies, and CrossFit's helped as well, because the CrossFit guys use the stones and they use yokes and stuff. So that's kind of helped grow that. And I think gyms are just popping up all around the country. They're still popping up. We actually have a gym locator on my website, and I was really shocked that there's probably about 70 strongman gyms on there, dotted all around the country.
That's unreal.
And when we started, there was literally one that we knew of within 2.5 hours, and the rest were more like down south, like a 7-hour drive. Salt Air was a proper class place back in the day. There's loads of old videos on YouTube as well of all this training there, and it's proper mad, because everybody's got on to do really good stuff for the sport. So it's pretty mad looking back.
I just want to quickly ask, did you say Graham Hicks was a 105?
Graham Hicks was one of the best 105ers of all time. He won all the comps, all the Englands, Britons, UK's. There was actually a competition called Champs of Champs, I think it was called, where they got the Finnish 105 champ, and we got loads of 105ers basically, and Hicksy won that as well. He actually logged 172 kilos for the 105 world record at that competition. Don't know why I remember that, but he did. And I think that was the world record for a good 4 or 5 years, was 172, and Hicksy did it in a comp on like the third event, and just did it for the win. He wasn't even true max. It took a while for, I think Rob Kearney broke it eventually.
I remember meeting Graham Hicks at the back of Big Dogs 4 when I was coaching, and standing next to him, and he was fucking not 105 anymore.
Oh no, he ate the 105 Hicksy, didn't he?
Yeah. He did. Fucking hell.
Yeah, the thing with Hicks, right, is a freak, mate. It's class, because we didn't even know him. We got these. We were training strongman, and this guy came up to us at Salt Air, and he was like, "You should message Graham. Graham Hicks. He trains at this other gym down the road, commercial gym. He's like, he's the only one who can press the 60s, the dumbbells, because back then we knew nothing about anything, and we called stuff like 2 plates a side, and we're impressed with dumbbell shoulder presses. So anyway, my friend Kenny, who trained with us at the time, knew Hicksy from school or something. So he texted him and asked him, "Do you want to come try some strongman? We've heard you're pretty strong."
Yep.
He was like, "Yeah, sweet." He was about 100 kilos. And then the first thing he did was a yoke. And I remember he ran a 300 kilo yoke, 20 meters in about 7 seconds. We were
Holy shit.
yeah, he was like, "Was that good?" And we're like, "Nah, I'm not sure if we like this guy because we've been training this for like a year." Yeah, and he's just like an absolute freak athlete. But every single time he lifted anything, every time I'd see him, like literally every month, he'd be bigger and bigger and bigger. And then in his final, because I used to live with Hicksy as well when we were competing in 105, so they see everything. But yeah, he ended up at 120 kilo on keto diet.
What?
Like he was mad. He just wanted to go.
What the fuck?
Being eggs and peppers. He used to make these foo youngs, he called them. It was just fucking scrambled egg with a bit of veg thrown in, a bit of soy sauce. But he used to live on that, and he'd just be like massive. His shoulders are like out here, and then he would do a mad water cut to 105. And then after about a couple of years, he was like, "Yeah, I can't do 105s anymore." Started eating carbs again. Literally 4 months later, he was 140 kilo. I was like, "Fuck."
He's a fucking animal.
That's some fucking growing.
Yeah, no, honestly, that's why when people say to me, like, "Oh, I'm trying to gain weight, I'm trying to force feed up to this," I'm like, listen, if you're meant to be that way, you'll be that way. Because Hicksy eats normal. It's not really anything substantial what he eats.
Yep.
And neither, all the strongmen I know that are absolutely freak massive, they all don't really struggle to be that big.
Yep.
And Hicksy was just holding himself back. He was eating no carbs and probably 2,000 calories to stay at 120. It's like absolutely mental.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
What an animal.
Fucking hell. And you touched a little bit about the equipment you had back then, but it must have been a motley bunch. Were you making some of it stuff yourself, or what was it kind of like when you couldn't buy anything?
Yeah, it was just, well, we didn't know what was good.
Yep.
Or bad back then, to be honest. So, we had a yoke. The yoke was 40 kilo empty.
Yep.
Which you can imagine is a flimsy fucking yoke to put heels on. Yeah, but weirdly, everybody that trained at Salt Air is one of the best yokers in the world at their given thing now. Like Hicksy is so fast with a yoke. I only lost one yoke ever competing in under 90s, under 80s, and 105s as well. Ben France, animal at yoke. Paul Smith, good at yoke. We're all good at yoke, and I think it's because we spent 4 or 5 years training on the shittest yoke in history.
So when you got to use the good one, mate, you just fucking flew like a Ferrari.
Yeah, well, when you pick a yoke up and it doesn't wobble or move, and the handles aren't doing like this, and it's not just feels like crap, and the bar's so thin it's like killing your spine. You pick it up on a nice one, you're like, "Oh, this is all right. This is not so bad."
This is fucking nice.
That's fucking insane. I can't imagine but a lot of that old school not the old school mentality, but that old school training methods, because shit was just hard. By the time competition came around, as you said, everything was easier.
Yeah, 100%. I remember when I went to the Arnold's, because we trained on that yoke as well for the whole time. Like even when we had other kit and we had, when it was going 4 or 5 years, we just kept that yoke. We liked that yoke. We got used to it.
Yep.
And we kind of knew as well, like, it feels better when we go somewhere. So we kind of stuck with it. And I went to the Arnold Classic one year, and their yoke was 220 kilo empty. So it was like this big, solid, fucking thick thing. And I remember I think it was like 320 kilo at a yoke. And I picked it up, and it genuinely felt like 250. It's like, it was such a massive difference. Because at the time, I was like, 320 was quite a hard yoke for me. Especially when I cut to 80 kilo. And I remember picking it up in the comp and being like, "What the fuck is this?" And I just ran with it. Very strange.
Man, I love that. Those old school stories just become folklore, and then you hear shit like that. You're like, fucking hell.
What was the early days at competition like for you back then, bro? A lot of traveling around and stuff?
Yeah, a lot of, well, to be honest, we kind of took over the sport in the north. I say we, Ben mainly. I was too young to do anything back then. But Ben France, used to run competitions in the kind of area. So a lot of the time, I would travel a lot. I also used to be really, like, I haven't competed for a long while, but back then when I was like full on in it, like my whole life revolved around strongman back then. So I traveled to different countries. I've been to Ireland a few times. I've been to places in Europe. I've been to Australia once, actually. I competed in the Strong Fit World in Australia. I did at Arnold's in Ohio. I did loads of stuff. I used to compete all the time. I used to do 105s, 90s, and under 80s in the same year. And I would, travel down south. But a lot of the comps I would do were kind of up in within about 2 or 3 hour drive. So, I was lucky that Ben ran a lot of the shows because it wasn't too much traveling for me. So I managed to compete a lot. I probably did 30 comps a year for the first 3 or 4 years. I did a lot of comps.
That's every other week.
I was. I was off my fucking head, mate. I do fucking all sorts of shit. I won the under 80 Britons. Came second at the under 90 England's the next week, and then the week after I won England's most powerful man 105. That was my best year of competing.
Jesus, so you must have done some pretty hard weight cuts, and if you're moving between 105 and 80.
Oh no, I just competed at 83 kilo, mate. I just fucking.
Oh.
So you just eat up.
Yeah, well, no, I just do the same thing. I just turn up and lift. I'd cut to the under 80 comp, and then I would just eat normal, and I'd weigh about 85 usually, walking around. So I compete under 90, 85, and then next week I compete 105 at about 85 kilo.
At 85, and still clean them up. So you're coming in fucking 20 kilos lighter than some of your competition, or maybe more, and you still manage to take them as well. That's pretty cool, bro.
Yeah, I used to prefer the 105 comps actually because I used to smash them, to be honest, because they're fucking slow. I'm pretty strong statically, so I used to hold my own on the statics.
Yep.
And then the moving events or the overhead medleys and stuff like that.
Yep.
I used to always enjoy them. Plus, it was always funny because nobody expects it. It's quite funny. I remember once, have you ever heard of Martin C? The guy who does the strongman. He's proper southern, and he's always on the mic shouting and screaming. UK strongman. Yeah, well, I remember him. The first time I met him was at that 105 comp that I won, England's most powerful man, and there was this overhead medley, and it was a 110 bar into a 120 log into a 130 axle into an 85 kilo dumbbell. And I was out. It was the first event, and I was out last. And he obviously looked at my weight and stuff on the form he had, and he was like, "Everybody, let's get behind Shane. It's going to be amazing if you can get this first one up." And he's like, he's the lightest one here by 20, 30 kilo. Let's all get behind him. He needs your support. And I was looking at him like, what the fuck are you on about? Because I'd watched everybody do the event, and I used to watch it. I still see it now. People press the first object and they casually walk to the next one. They fucking move the belt. They do a bit of chalk. And I'm like, I watched this whole thing and I was like, okay, this is an easy event win for me. They're fucking idiots. And this guy was like patronizingly going, let's get behind him, everyone. I was looking at him like, you're fucking absolute tart. And then I smoked it in about fucking 20 seconds. And he's never, ever stopped saying that since. Every time I compete, he's like, I remember when Shane first competed and I was trolling him for being small and shit. And I was like, it's
How
funny.
did the competitors like getting beaten by a lad who was 20 kilos less?
Well, the competitors all knew me.
Oh, yeah.
So they kind of, there used to be a forum called Sugden Barbell before it went to like Facebook and everything mainly. So everybody was on this forum called Sugden. And I was having a bit of banter telling everybody I was going to win that comp for about 3 weeks. They didn't think I was serious, but I was deadly serious. You know, when you see the events of something and you're like, this is this is a good comp feat for me. So I kind of knew that I was going to do well in that one. So I was a bit cocky and telling everyone I was going to smash him. And then I did, luckily. So yeah.
Yep. Did you get back on the forum after you won and just said, I fucking told you, boys?
Of course.
I love that. Man, how have, like, obviously you've been in the game for nearly 14 years. With the evolution of social media and the impact it's had on the sport, do you think it's a good impact? Do you think it's a positive, or do you think it's brought too many fuckwits to the sport?
No, I say bring the fuckwits. They pay me, so yeah, bring them all on. The bigger the sport, the more people we can get into it, the better. Because the thing is, at the moment as well, there's so much bad information out there in strongman, and everybody who's like deep into the sport is trying to keep it niche. They're trying to keep it like, no, don't come into this is my sport, and it's fucking stupid, because if you want the sport to evolve, you need to get money in it. You need to get people in it. You need to get fans. You need to get people that, even if they're just people that see the sport and want to go watch it. So I think it's brilliant that things are exploding on social media. It's done wonders for, well, I can tell the difference, because just the way my business has gone, the amount of people that we help, the amount of inquiries we get, the amount of questions that I get, the amount of just everything. Whereas, 5-6 years ago, nobody was even interested in finding out anything about the sport.
Yep.
Whereas Eddie Hall's done a real good thing for the sport by kind of making it so global with his name. And although it kind of, I know what you mean, you do get a few idiots in there, but if you educate the idiots and teach them things, they're suddenly not idiots. The problem lies really when people are going to these strongman gyms, and the owner of the gym is just giving them bad information and bad habits and things like this, and that kind of just snowballs into more fucking idiots out there. But luckily, the more people put stuff out there that's decent information on social media, those people start to be like, oh, actually, my coach says this, and you're saying that's completely wrong. And then they start to learn, basically. And what will happen is all the people that give bad information and make people more fuckwits, they'll get fizzled out, because people will realize that they're giving bad information. They'll get exposed for what they are. So I just think that over the next couple of years, I think strongman's going to be massive, and I'm going to make sure I have a big say in it and a big impact in it as well, because we've got loads of plans in the pipeline to, make sure that we take the sport forward in the right direction, instead of just kind of filling it full of people and loads of people doing random shit and just not kind of working properly.
Do you think there's like some, because I like what you said about not keeping it niche, and now knowing from obviously our background here as strength coaches and former powerlifting, there's some people that want to keep powerlifting in the golden era and the golden age, and it's almost like those older heads need to move on and adapt. Do you see that in strongman?
Oh, 100%. I say this, the sport will be better when all them old fuckers fuck off, because they're holding the sport back to shit. There's so much politics. There's so much bullshit, because they're just, it drives me nuts. It makes me stressed, because, like, for example, I offered to sponsor this competition, this big competition in the 105s. I offered to sponsor it. I offered to give cash money to all the top 5 t-shirt. I cover everything for these guys. They said no, just because they don't want like the MST Systems name attached to their comp, because some people have a weird thing against my company. But I'm like, mate, I don't care about, I don't like you either. I don't care about our relationship. I'm sponsoring the comp for the athletes. You're turning down prize money for athletes just because you don't like me. I was like, I don't like you. I don't want to offer you money. I'm not offering you money. I'm offering the athletes money. And it's like, they're stuck in the way. No, I'll do it myself. We've done it this way for 7 years. They don't need prize money. They don't need this. I'm like, what? Fuck, I was like, you're fucking. And there's all this stuff like in the UK. Obviously, it's just different in like America and Australia, I'm sure. But in the UK, you've got promoters that run the Southerns, you've got the Northerns, the Midlands. Then you've got kind of like the different pathways, like the UKs and the official strongman, and nobody talks and nobody like intertwines. It's just kind of like, you do this comp, these rules, you do this comp, this rule. If you do this comp, I'm going to be pissed off at you, so I'm going to make it awkward for you to do my comp. And it's like, it's just bullshit, to be honest with you.
Fucking oath. And I like, what triggered that for me was like just hearing you say that, not keep it niche.
Exactly right.
Is the more it becomes mainstream. Like I want, and the good thing about strongman, and especially in comparison to powerlifting, is that it's exciting to watch.
Very exciting.
It could 100%
And
be.
the thing is as well, strongman can be like people think, like people have this weird notion that you have to be a certain strength or a certain whatever to do strongman. Like my mum does a bit of strongman, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You can get anybody involved, and in any sport, it's the people at the kind of bottom of the of kind of the strength ladder, what you want to call it, the weakest people, or the people who do it as a hobby, shall we say, they're the ones that fund everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The top guys are the niche guys.
Yep.
And then you need to allow the people below that want to come to the gym and take part in like a strong fit class or something. You want them to actually be involved, enjoy the sport. They like training it, like CrossFit, for example. They have, everybody does CrossFit.
Yeah.
But then you've got the niche people that go to the games.
Yep.
And they're funded by all the masses below. And if you just say, no, I don't want to include these people, then you're missing out on the business side of it. That's the thing that strongmen aren't good at, and promoters aren't good at. They don't know how to run a business. And that's all it is. If you want to take the sport further, if you want better venues, if you want better kit, if you want to have film crews, if you want to get stuff on, even just get stuff on YouTube, whatever, nicely edited, that's how you take the sport further, because then your little comp that you're running, at a random venue that gets 100 spectators, that then goes on YouTube and is globally accessible to absolutely everybody. They get to see the athletes, they get to watch the performances, they get to follow their Instagrams and then keep up with them. Then the athlete releases some t-shirts, maybe they buy a t-shirt off them. You know what I mean? It just snowballs into this. This is how the sport grows, and so many people don't understand that, and then they kick off when you do say it, and it just makes me smash my head into walls. I'm just like, you literally know nothing. Go away, get out of the sport, let me sort it. But unfortunately, I don't have time to sort all that stuff. I'm trying to do too many things, so I can't get involved on the competition side yet. But one day, when I calm down, I will sort this competition side out, because I already know what I want to do. Luke Davies as well, who owns Chaos Strength Gym, we're on the same page. Luke's got good ideas. Luke's actually more in the realm of doing it soon. So hopefully Luke can put some stuff together. Luke's Rhiannon Lovelace's fella on, if you know Rhiannon. She's like the under 63 female king or queen, should I say.
Shit.
Fucking hell. I didn't even know the weight class went that low, but that's fucking insane.
That's cool. I like that bit you talk about, because I think, and we both think similarly for powerlifting, like ease of access for everyone to do it. Have a place for everyone to be able to have a fucking crack and enjoy the sport, because that's what feeds and drives the big guys and girls, isn't it? It's fucking perfect. And
yeah, exactly.
One of those guys or girls kicking off and just having a crack, they might be a Hicksy that turns into a mutant with carbs, and then 5-10 years later they're setting the world on fire, right?
Exactly. That's what I say to people who ask me why I enjoy my coaching business, is because I say I'm digging for diamonds. You know what I mean? I'm like, every now and again I get a diamond, and they're an absolute freak. And we've managed to get loads of them through the company. We've got lads that have gone to Giants live shows, lads that have won national comps, open weight, and the young lads. And a lot of them just came to me to get involved in a novice comp or something, and then. You find the diamond in the rough, you give them the right direction, and suddenly you've got, and this is how you're going to grow the future of the sport is, if that person had got, not going to say this could happen, but, if somebody goes to a bad coach, gets bad info into bad habits, they might not enjoy it. It might not be for them. They might leave, might not get involved in it. Whereas if you give them the right direction, then you can suddenly find people that are my missus is a perfect example. When I first met her, she's the most unathletic human. She's probably like, she's the most unathletic woman, and she had proper long back as well, the longest back, and she's laughing. After she pulled a 200 kilo deadlift at 60 kilo body weight, like natural, you know what I mean? It's
get fucked.
If you'd
That's incredible.
told me 5 years ago she'd be pulling 200, I'd have been like, you get fucked. But she's clean and jerk 90 kilos, snatched like 75 kilo or something. So, really good really good athlete, actually.
Yep.
Can't wait to have a kid because they've got some genetics and go through their into their muscle fibers, I tell you.
They'll start strong fucking man training fucking
Man.
straight out of the bat.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like just talking to you now, you can see that you've got the passion for the sport, and then I love what he's talking about. Not just giving people direction, but you're literally giving them a pathway to follow. And that's what needs to happen. That's going to trickle down. I know you say it starts from the bottom as well, but it also starts from the top with people like yourself. So I think you're in a fucking brilliant position.
Yeah, it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm also passionate about growing the sport. Like my whole goal of my business, because I always think that if you want a successful business, I think you need to have an overarching goal that's a little bit more driven than money.
Mm-hmm.
Which a lot of people fall into that trap. So my overarching goal is to leave the sport of strongman much better than what it was. I want to be able to, because I remember when I was like 22, 23 years old, I was, and if you don't believe me, just find me YouTube. I was the strongest under 80 kilo man that's ever lived. Still to this day, no one has come close to anything I could do under 80. And I was 22. And the only reason why I didn't get stronger is under 80 is because there's no fucking point. It was just a bit boring.
Yep.
But I had a 340 deadlift. I'd loaded a 182 stone, which is still like 10, 15 kilo over the world record. And I did it like 9 years ago. I used to run 400 kilo yokes. I had a 150, 145, 150 log press. Like 9-10 years ago, this is at 80 kilo bodyweight walking around.
Jesus.
But there was nobody give a shit. Like there was no competitions, there was no prize money, there was no sponsorships, there was nothing. I could never express my strength to a platform. I could never showcase myself. So my goal is, I don't want somebody, that's a young lad under 90, under 80, doing some crazy ass shit. I don't want him competing for a 20-pound plastic trophy. My goal is to be able to fund the sport with prize money, get some competitions going, give athletes sponsorship opportunities. And I always thought to myself, why isn't there some millionaire out there who loves the sport, who just goes, right, I'm going to put this into strongman in the lightweight scene.
Yep.
And obviously that never happened. So then I started thinking to myself, well, why don't I just make myself a fucking millionaire, and then I could do it myself. So that's kind of where things have started going from here.
I love that. I fucking absolutely love it. And I think you touched on a couple of times down the podcast, but at the end of the day, you still run a business, and a business to survive still needs to make money, but you're not keeping that money for yourself. Like, you're putting that money straight back into the sport.
Oh yeah, 100%. I have a push bike, mate. You know what I mean? I'm not flying around in fancy cars and shit. I put everything I've got back into the sport, or back into the business and the sport as well. So yeah.
From a coaching standpoint, bro, how have you seen it evolve over the years? And then the second part is, from what we hear, because we've had Flash on before, one of his clients, Reed, powerlifting lad as well. You guys do it a bit differently as well.
So do you mean how my coaching's evolved over the years?
Yeah, how yours coach and how you've seen the game change, and where's the opportunities and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like, you mean as a business or as an actual method?
It's an individual, bro. How you coach people these days?
Yeah, nothing's really changed.
There was no information out there.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's really changed for quite a long time, to be honest with you, because I kind of came up with my MST system, the Modified Strongman Training System. I came up with this training system quite a while ago, and it's come from experience, it's come from utilizing different things, it's come from working with different people, and a lot of research. I'm big into just reading and learning and constantly gaining knowledge, and I kind of put this system together that I thought was scientifically sound, with changes made due to the experience I've gained from practical application, basically. Because I think a lot of the research studies, they're good, but you have to take everything with a pinch of salt, and you also have to apply the things that they're talking about, because a lot of the studies are done on Gen Pop, and when you're or even people that are kind of well trained, and when you're talking about applying a stimulus to a high level athlete who's already reached somewhat genetic limits, then things are a little bit different. So I haven't really changed the training system for a long time, to be honest with you, because it's just so successful. Obviously, certain aspects change, like exercise selection, and there are subtle changes, but realistically, the whole kind of basis of the MST system is built around eccentric isometrics, transitional phases, and specific peaks. So we have a specific order that I go through with people where we do GPP or aerobic foundation blocks. We transition into eccentric phases. We transition then into isometric phases, and then we transition into maximal strength peaks. So that kind of structure there, that baseline phase training that I use, hasn't changed for 6-7 years. The only thing that's really changed is the popularity of it. We were one of the people that really pushed eccentric and isometrics in the UK in strongman and powerlifting, and then as we got results and people seeing the results, they came on board with us. We then ran them through eccentric isometric phases. People then left. I've probably trained near half the coaches in the UK, to be honest with you. So that's why in the UK, I don't know what it's like over there, but eccentric isometrics in the UK are quite well used now. And I do take all the credit for it because I know it's me, because it was me that did it. But I basically trained all these coaches, took them through the phases. They got the crazy results and were like, holy shit, this works. They've implemented it with their clients. Their clients have done it, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. So realistically, that's the kind of training system as a whole. And the only thing really that we do different is log. We have a very unique way of programming log, which I don't use the eccentric isometrics on the log. But that hasn't changed either, really, to be honest with you. Very similar training system to what I've always used on the log. The log, we like to use quite a lot of frequency. Big believer in skill acquisition on the log being number one priority. So we're one of the only people that are comfortable to basically give people log. I'll make someone log 14 times a week if they'll do it. So yeah, that's kind of it, really.
Can you tell us a bit more about eccentric isometrics? There we go. My English is bad at the moment. Can you tell us a bit more about that, bro, without giving away the secret, I guess?
Yeah, I know. I'll give you the secret. It's not hard to learn. There's a book called Triphasic Training by, I don't have any books, I've just got a lot of books in there. Triphasic Training by Carl Dietz is where I first read about it. There's also a guy on Instagram called Joel Seedman. I don't know if you've seen him. Who does his stupid lifting.
He's doing some wacky stuff.
Yeah.
He's copping a bit of shit lately.
The principle behind it is 90-degree eccentric isometrics, which everything he says is correct. I just think that his application of it's a bit shit because he doesn't like to go for a full range. But basically, the way we do it at MST Systems, we use a 3 to 6 week phase of eccentrics where we'll basically, there's multiple ways to do it. Some people like to actually overload the eccentric, but I think I'm all about adherence and consistency and making things as easy as possible. Maybe I'm just a lazy bastard, but to me, have you ever seen the eccentric hooks that you put on and you squat down and as they hit the floor, they come off? Yeah, so that's one way to do an eccentric training phase. Is you would overload your eccentric. You would maybe give yourself a time goal to hit the range of motion over, and then the eccentric hooks come off and you do, the concentric as fast as you can. The way I like to do it is without the eccentric overload and just increase the amount of time you go for the range of motion. So eccentric phases for me usually start at 12 seconds. So I'll make somebody do like a 12-second eccentric squat for a 1 rep max. I usually spread the seconds over 2 sessions. So let's say week 1 they do a 1 rep max with 12-second eccentric. I'll make them be like RP7 area. And then I'll make them do drop sets with controlled eccentrics as well. So they might drop 25%, 4x5 with a 3-second eccentric, for example.
Do you see
and
their
then the
soul
next
leave
week,
their body?
Sorry?
Do you see their soul leave their body on those 12 seconds?
I see every ounce of blood go to the face and then they get a big fucking 25 plate for a head.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah. But then the week after, we'll just do the same thing, but RP9. So they'll use because no one really knows what they're going to hit for a 12-second eccentric. So the first week, the RP7 is like a kind of feeler. They can
Yep.
they can kind of roughly guess where they're at, and then the next week they take everything they think they can. And yeah, we'll do that for depending on the athlete and how shit they are at the eccentrics. For example, if someone's got a 300 kilo back squat and they do 200 for 12-second eccentric, I'm thinking, right, you've got an imbalance in your concentric eccentric strength, because believe it or not, if you do an eccentric training phase, let's say you finish it at a 6-second eccentric, because I usually drop the seconds as the week goes on. So if you finish at a 6-second eccentric, you'll be real close to your max squat, or you should be anyway. So if there's a disparity between load, and maybe we'll drag it out 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, you know what I mean? I'm quite reactive with the programming, so it just depends how it's going. Other people might reach the point in 3 weeks because they've already got a decent concentric eccentric strength ratio. And then after that, we'll go into the isometrics, which I usually I like to use double pause isometrics at the moment, is something that I'm using. So for example, on the back squat, they'll go down slowly, they'll pause on the eccentric at about 90-degree joint angle, and they'll hold it for like 2 or 3 seconds.
Yep.
The key on isometrics is to make sure that the actual pause is enough time for adaptation. That's a big mistake people make with pause squats. The amount of pause squats I see where they're not doing anything, they're just taking away a stretch reflex. The whole idea is to gain an adaptation at that joint angle. So you need to stay there for a little while. You can't just go pause and down. So we'll pause at 90-degree joint angle, then we'll go to full range of motion and pause in the hole as well, then stand up, and that'll be a rep. So that's kind of how we'd use those. I tend to use those for reps, so I won't do 1 rep max with them. I might do like a 6 rep max or something. Again, that's a bit head poppy. But isometrics are great for so many reasons, and one of the main ones is the reduction in pain and inflammation of the joint. So if somebody has like sore knees, for example, and you use a double pause isometric phase, coming out of the 4 to 6 weeks, their knees are going to feel like they're 18 again. They work really well.
Fuck yeah, that's massive.
Damn, everyone's got to do some 12-second squats.
Yeah, honestly, if you run an eccentric phase into an isometric phase, whether you do it on squat, bench, whatever movement pattern you do it on, you will feel great. Like, honestly, unless you fuck the load up and go too heavy. Like I always tell people, the pauses and the eccentric time are the most important, not the weight. That's hard for athletes to see because, when they're using a little bit less plates on the bar, they're sometimes tempted to put more on. And then they're doing an eccentric where the form's breaking down, they're in bad positions, or the internal rotation or something goes on, and then they end up with worse knees. And I'm like, yeah, it's because we fucked the load up. So yeah, if you do a proper eccentric isometric phase, your knees, hips, elbows, whatever it is, will feel absolutely amazing at the end of it.
Yeah,
I like that, man. And now just a little bit more on how I guess your methodology with it. I can see you're wearing a Whoop band, and now are you big on tracking that sort of data?
I'm a right nerd, yeah, mate. I got an ECG machine in there.
Are you serious?
Sick.
Holy fuck, dude, that's next level.
Yeah, fucking proper sketch me. I track everything. I just enjoy it. Yeah. I think without data, I think it's kind of like, I don't know. I just think you don't really know what's going on, do you? Like, how do I know what I'm doing is working? How can I check? Like, for example, if I'm in an aerobic phase and I'm trying to get more work capacity, if I see my resting heart rate dropping slowly over the weeks, I know that I'm training hard enough and I'm getting the changes that I want. If I'm not tracking these things, then you're just guessing, aren't you, really? And I think for the small investment that you can make these days, I don't see why you wouldn't track. I mean, this isn't very expensive, but it's absolutely class. So yeah, I just think if you're an athlete, then you should track. And my whole thing as well is, I believe that as a coach, I need to be doing stuff that puts me 3, 4, 5 steps ahead of everybody else, everyone that I coach. So imagine if I had a lot of athletes and that they've all got Whoop bands, they're all tracking all their stuff, they know this, and I'm just this fucking fat knacker who sits here scanning potatoes and shit. It just doesn't work. It doesn't give the same vibe. I need to be doing stuff so that I can tell them if they have an issue. I'm like, look, if you do this and this, it'll solve your issue. Instead of just being, I don't know. I like to lead by example as well as, you know, telling people what to do. It's really easy to tell people what to do.
Yep.
And when I help a lot of coaches as well, and I always tell them, if you can't do something, then don't expect somebody else to do it. You know, because how do you know how much hassle it is? How do you know? Because sometimes people tell people to do stuff, they don't realize how much of a impact it puts on your whole day. You know, people have jobs and kids and this and that, and certain things can be a little bit more hassle to add into your lifestyle. So if you can't do it, how the hell can you expect someone else to? And things like a whoop band, everybody can wear this. It doesn't, you know, you just put it on. It's not really hassle. So yeah, for me, wearing a whoop band, it just does so much for me as well, like with my habits. So one of the things that made me notice was, because it makes like a graph while you're training of your heart rate and your output and stuff, I noticed that my graph would be really high at the grafting, and then it would drop for a bit, and then it would come back up. And that was because I was on my phone. And I didn't realize how much of an impact it was making on my sessions until I could physically look at a graph of my sessions and be like, holy shit, this is like ruining my training. So it made me be more conscious of making sure I don't take my phone with me when I train.
Yep.
Love that.
That's unreal. And one of the other cool things I keen to chat about, you've got your little YouTube page kicking along now, which is pretty cool. Is that just another path of you just trying to get information out to the world? And I was just watching your big dumbbell press breakdown little bit ago. Run through that.
Yeah, the Novikov one.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool thing that you're doing there, bro. It's just another way for people just to pick up some skills and learn some stuff off you from anywhere.
Yeah, well, the problem with strongman is there's like, you go in any sport. Like I love MMA. Like my favorite sport to watch is MMA. I followed MMA for like forever. My first fight I saw was Nogueira versus Pop Sapp in Pride. I don't know if you follow MMA, but that was a long time ago, that one.
That's old school, bro.
Yeah, but I seen that Channel 5 at about 2 a.m. I was when I was about 10 or something up wanking, and I bloody ended up putting Channel 5 on and watching. I thought it was real wrestling. That's what I call it. I was like, real wrestling. I was like, what's this? But yeah, all those sports I love going on, and I watch the coaches break down the fights. They're showing the slow-mo, how they slipped the punch and what they were doing, and it shows you them setting up the shot and all this stuff. I love that. You go on strongman, nothing. You know, so I wanted to basically, I thought to myself one day, I was like, geez, guys, if I was a fan of strongman, I want to watch a coach that knows what he's on about, break down the lifts, and it would get me interested in it. It would up my knowledge on it. And that's what I wanted to do. So the YouTube, we've only been doing it a couple of weeks. And we've got a nice little schedule going. Yeah, well, it's just a bit of fun, really. We travelled to a comp, we filmed the comp the other week as well. That's another thing what I do is what I film some comps and get a bit of like, well, I don't know. The dream kind of is to have quite a few subscribers that are mainly UK based. I don't care if they're all around the bloody world, but mainly UK based, so that people can go on and watch the competitions, learn some stuff, and also maybe we say on Facebook or Insta, oh, we're going to go film this comp. And then everyone gets excited that they're going to get on the YouTube channel, and you know, it adds something to novice into competitions in the UK that gives them a little bit of like, you know, something to look forward to, and you know, makes us be able to add something to the sport. And that's kind of the whole the whole goal with the YouTube is just give people free, accessible information so they can make smarter choices. Because not everybody can afford a coach, you know what I mean? But everybody can afford to invest a couple of hours in a few videos, so we can reach a lot more people.
Have you got any pushback from anyone saying, "Nah, that's not how you do a dumbbell press. You're completely wrong, you idiot"? Any haters in the comments?
No, no. Also, like we did get a lot of pushback because the strongman scene, like I say, is weird. And I think it just attracts weird people, to be honest with you. But people were saying to me that I shouldn't be critiquing the professionals. I shouldn't be telling them, even though I'm right. They're not disagreeing that I'm right or wrong.
Yep.
They're saying that I shouldn't be doing that. That I should ask permission first. Can I critique the thing? I was like, why, bro? I mean, it's not like fucking Tyson Fury fights and some guy wants to make a video on Tyson Fury's technique breakdowns, going to message Fury and be like, "Hey, mate, can I pop a YouTube video on it for you?" He's just going to do it. But he's like, "Yeah, but our sport's different. It's close knit. You know them all." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know them all," which is why I'm putting them up without asking as well, because like I'm not fucking asked. Like, but people got the main one that did it was Bish, but we did an Adam Bishop video on his log press, because his log press technique it's not the greatest. And I did a breakdown because he's made a video teaching people how to log. So I made a video saying this isn't how you log. It's wrong. These are the reasons why it's wrong.
Yep.
And yeah, I got loads of stick for that. Loads of stick. I even got banned off Official Strongman and everything.
Oh, really?
I love that.
Yeah, because I used to be on the Official Strongman website. I used to do loads of videos for them, so their members would pay to log in and watch his educational videos, and I was the main person on there teaching everything.
Yep.
And yeah, they took all my videos down off of Strongman and said I'm not allowed to be on the site again.
Oh, fuck. That's fucking gold, bro. Fuck him. And then you just go on and do your own channel. Everyone will come there and watch it and pay for it.
Yeah, well, I was like, fair enough. They were like, you're not bothered. I'm like, I'm not in the slightest bit arse, no. Like, yeah, I said, they think it was good for me. I was like, I was doing you a favor. Like, you weren't doing me a favor. I was sat there recording videos for hours. You know what I mean? Strange world. But yeah, I don't really give a shit about. This is the thing with me, though. I really don't give a fuck. Like, and I know a lot of people say that, but they really do. But I just don't give a fuck. So I'll say whatever, do whatever, and then I'll turn up to a strongman competition. I see the person that I've said something about, and I'll fucking say hello to him.
Yep.
Because I don't think it's, I don't really take anything personal or get offended. But sometimes people take stuff real personal in this sport.
Yep.
Like the issue with the Bish thing was actually his coach.
Oh.
Because his coach took it as if I was slating him, that he was coaching wrong.
Yep.
And I didn't even know this guy coached Bish. I thought Bish coached himself. So yeah, it just got taken the wrong way. And then it was also got worse, because I was like, well, if you do coach him, then you are coaching him wrong. So
just calling it how you see it.
Yeah, well, I was like, I didn't know you coached him, but now I do. Yeah, it's wrong. It's, fucking
shit.
It's what it is. And it's not, and the thing, it's not my fault. If somebody puts wrong information out there, and then people are like, oh, legend, I'm going to go apply this. I feel like it's my duty to be like, hey, don't listen to this person. That isn't correct. That is bad advice, because all these things are going to, like, these athletes, imagine that one of those athletes had the potential to be amazing at log press, but they ingrained terrible positions from the get-go. 4 years later, they've hit a plateau. You know what I mean? That's how things work. That could very well happen. So that's what I want to do, is I want to make sure that we're growing the sport, not just in terms of for the competitors, but for the coaches as well, so that up-and-coming coaches can get information. We're actually releasing in the next couple of weeks. We're releasing the first Strongman Coaching Academy.
Oh, nice.
Well, that's what it's called, the Strongman Coaching Academy. I'm building a coaching academy for coaches and personal trainers, so that they can buy a qualification and basically go through our academy and learn how to coach every single strongman lift down to like micro positions. So yeah, we've got loads of stuff in the pipeline to take the sport in the direction that I feel it needs to go into.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I fucking love it, bro. Mate, now towards the end of this thing, what we do is we have 10 very big questions for you that are going to just throw you off your game, and we're going to get some funny little answers. Are you ready for this?
Right.
For question number one, you are given the opportunity to rename the apple that you eat. What are you going to rename it to?
Fucking hell, you're right. I was just thinking to myself, there's no way you're going to throw me off. I was like, I'm too quick to be thrown off. I call it Shannon's Pink Fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that. Now, does
Yeah.
chocolate belong in the fridge?
I'm a fan of like pocket chocolate.
Pocket chocolate.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like melted, fucked up pocket chocolate.
Fucking, that's the good chocolate. What do you wish
Yeah,
you
we get
spent?
it out and it's like fucked, man.
You got to squeeze it out of the wrapper to eat it.
Oh,
What do you wish you spent more time doing?
smoking weed.
Yes. What can you do today that you could not do 5 years ago?
I couldn't do this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's just stuck there, mate.
Yeah. I was
It's
like,
stuck there. That's where it lives.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Oh,
no,
no.
yeah. I've lost these two fingers.
God
They
damn.
just fucking,
Why did
yeah,
you do
so I
that?
couldn't do this. I fucking dropped a barbell for it. That's a scar.
Oh, Jesus. Through it.
Yeah, I fucking fell over like a fucking spanner with a 270 squat. And my hand landed on the J hook and the bar landed on top and the J hook
Oh.
went through my hand.
Through the hand.
Oh, yeah,
That's
it's
fine.
fucked, yeah. If you go on my Instagram, there's the highlight called hand injury because I got it on video as well. If you want to see
Yep.
some fucked up shit, you can watch that.
I'm going into that next.
yeah, I'm watching it now.
That's going to be exceptional. What activity do you do now that you lose track of time doing?
Oh, cunt.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I just
We
watched
just saw
it.
your video.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, it's that was not a great time. That was COVID for you, squatting in a dodgy COVID rack. Just working, mate. Basically, is the answer to that one. I love working. It fucking sounds a bit stupid, but yeah.
If you love what you do, bro. Fuck, I couldn't agree more with that. Now, this is a tricky one, bro. You're checking into your hotel. You're looking for a nice night there, but you find a dead body in your hotel room. What are you doing with it? Oh,
Well, me and Shannon are a bit of a team, so I'm sure we'll be able to sort something. I'd probably get Shannon to do most of the work.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the answer. I'd ask Shannon to sort it.
Yep.
That
She
is
picks
what I
that
would
for
do.
us. What's your most
I like
hated
Shannon.
mode of transport, sir?
Ooh.
Hey, mode of transport. Shannon's driving.
Shannon's getting thrown under the bus. What color is a mirror?
I'm going to say olive skin color.
Nice.
Beautiful
super-
olive skin, because when I look in it, it's just fucking perfection. Yeah.
What superpower do you not want?
Do I not want?
Mm.
I don't want to be Aquaman.
Yeah.
Speaking to the fucking dolphins and shit.
Now, mate, you folding your toilet paper or are you scrunching it? What are you doing with it?
Say that again. You broke up.
Will you fold your toilet paper or do you scrunch your toilet paper?
Oh, I'm a fucking origami expert with the toilet paper, mate.
Making perfect squares before it goes down and gets used.
I fucking love that question. I love that answer. While you were answering those
Yeah,
questions,
I get 10 wipes out of the sheet, mate.
I watched that hand injury and it like literally sent shivers down into my gut. That was fucked. That would have hurt.
Oh
surely.
yeah, it wasn't great. I was in the gym on my own as well. It was just me there, and I remember
Fuck.
saying to Shannon, I was like, I probably shouldn't squat today because that rack's dodgy and I need a spotter. And then I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll be all right. And then I rung her and I never ring anyone.
Yep.
So she like answers like, what do you want? And I was like, he's gonna pick me up quickly, and then put the phone down. And then you can't see it on the video because I cut it off, but my hand, I severed an artery, and it was like a film because it was squirting out so far. And I was like holding my wrist and kind of walking around like this. But I didn't realize it was so thin, the blood. I was squirting blood all the walls.
Oh, fuck.
So, it was honestly, blood everywhere. It was an absolute massacre in there. I had to ring my mate. I was like, can you go to the gym? Because there's people going to train the next day in my gym. I was like, can you just go to the gym and mop up a bit of blood on the platform? And then he like texted me like 2 hours later, like, what the hell happened? Like, what went on in there? Because there was just blood at the walls and just, it was a fucking nightmare.
And that it looked horrible, but I'm glad you're back killing it. And Mate, we can't thank you enough for coming onto the podcast today, and we really appreciate your time. Just give yourself a shout out. Where can people find you before we wrap up?
So for any coaching inquiries, or if you're looking to get in the strongman, you want an 8-week free strongman program, go to mstsystems.co.uk. Instagram is at MST Systems, and YouTube is also at MST Systems. If you could subscribe to my YouTube, maybe drop a little comment, that'll make my day, because we're trying to get the YouTube channel to grow so that we can get more information out there for strongmen and strongwomen.
Fuck
Man,
yeah, bro.
Absolutely love your passion and what you're doing for the sport, man. Can't thank you enough for your time, and we'll put all those links up in the show notes so people can find you.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you,
We'll
mate.
do some 12-second squats next week.
Yeah, 12-second squats.